Well, just to continue the prior video, is showing human activity in China and India dominates the greening of Earth. NASA studies show. So let me scroll down. So it says over the last 2 decades the Earth has seen an increase in foliage around the planet, measured in an average leaf area per year on plants and trees. Data from NASA satellites shows that China and India are leading in the increase in greening on land. The effect stems mainly from ambitious tree planting programs in China and intensive agriculture in both countries. The world is literally a greener place than it was 20 years ago, and data from NASA satellites reveal a counterintuitive source for much of the new foliage. China and India. New study shows that the two emerging countries with the world's biggest populations are leading the increase in greening on land. The effect stems mainly from ambitious tree planting programs in China and intensive agriculture in both countries. The greening phenomena was first detected using satellite data in the mid-90s by Ranga Menegi of Boston University and colleagues, but they did not know whether human activity was one of its chief direct causes. The new insight was made possible by nearly 20 years of long data records from NASA instruments orbiting Earth on 2 satellites. It's called the Model Resolution Imaging Spectroradiometer, or MODIS. It's a high-resolution data provides an accurate information, helping researchers work out details of what's happening with Earth vegetation, down to the level of 500 meters, or about 1,600 feet on the ground. Taken all together, the greening of the planet over the last 2 decades represent an increase in leaf area on plants, trees equivalent to the area covered by the Amazon rainforest. There are now more than 2 million square miles of extra green leaf area per year compared to the early 2000s, an increase of 5%. China and India account for 1/3 of the greening, but contains only 99% of planet land area covered in vegetation, a surprising finding, considering the general notion that land degradation in populous countries from overexploitation, says Shi Xian of the Department of Earth and Environment, Boston University in Massachusetts, and lead author of the study. An advantage of the MODIS satellite sensor is the intensive coverage it provides both in space and time. MODIS has captured as many as 4 shots per every place on Earth every day for the last 20 years. This long-term data lets us dig deeper, says Rama Nemani, a research scientist at NASA's Ames Research Center in California's Silicon Valley and a co-author of the new work. When the greening of Earth was first observed, we thought it was due to warmer, wetter climate and fertilization from added carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, leading to more leaf growth in the northern forests, for instance. Now the MODIS data lets us understand the phenomena is really small scale. We see that humans also are contributing. China outsized contribution to the global greening trend comes large part, 42% of programs to conserve and expand forests. These were developed in the effort to reduce the effects of soil erosion, air pollution and climate change. Another 32% there, and 82% of the greening seen in India comes from intensive cultivation of food crops. Land area used to grow crops is comparable in China and India. More than 770,000 square miles has not changed much since the early 2000s. Yet these regions has greatly increased both in their annual total green leaf area and their food production. This was achieved through multiple cropping practices, where a field is replanted to produce another harvest several times a year. Production of grains, vegetables, fruits and more has increased about 35 to 40% since 2000 to feed their large populations. How the greening trend may change in the future depends on numerous factors, both on global scale and local human level. For example, increased fruit production in India is facilitated by groundwater irrigation. If groundwater is depleted, this trend may change naturally. But now that we know that the direct human influence is a key driver of the greening Earth, we need to factor this into our climate models, Nanami says. This helps the scientists to better make predictions about the behavior of different Earth systems, which will help countries make better decisions on how and when to take action. The researchers point out that the gain of the greenness seen around the world is dominated by India, and China does not offset the damage of lost natural vegetation in tropical regions such as Brazil and Indonesia. The consequences for sustainability and biodiversity in those ecosystems remain. Overall, Nemani sees a positive message in the new findings. Once the people realize there's a problem, they tend to fix it, he said. In the 70s and 80s in India and China, the situation around vegetation loss wasn't good. In the 90s, people realized it, and today things have improved. Humans are incredibly resilient, that we see with the satellite data. So, just to put it on here, where was it? They are planting a lot of trees, right? Which is beneficial for oxygen production. And you can see this is a vast greening. We got the Himalayas here, right? This is the Gobi Desert. Yet in the Gobi Desert we do see there is some greening. This large piece of land, if this could be greened, turned from arid into a lush fertile soil, it would be extremely beneficial, not only for food production but also for oxygen production for the entire planet. This is a large piece of land that can be utilized into something positive. But again, I'm saying to you, with the elevated concentrations of CO2 in our atmosphere, greatly benefits the plants. And there was another article, but I want to do something else. Volcanoes, and then go to images. Let's just take a few. You see how much smoke is coming out of this. It's not the best, right? Because it blocks out the sunlight, but still a lot of CO2 is associated with a volcanic eruption. And it is a lot of smoke, a lot of CO2, and it's very beneficial, super beneficial. So this helps in this case with the greening. And what we are seeing, and what we have been seeing a trend of in the last 20 years, that is an uptick in volcanic eruptions. And we know why this uptick in volcanic eruptions is occurring. We are having a very active sun, which has turned from yellow to bright white, impossible to look at. The sun is hotter. That's not necessarily a good thing, but it is a good thing in some ways when it comes to vegetation. But it also comes with a side effect, which is that our Earth's core from the inside of the Earth and out to the surface is heating up the mantle, and the mantle is moving, and lava is moving, which in terms means that this overheating in some form or fashion has to vent, and that is in the form of volcanic activity, and that is on a very steep incline right now, not a decline. We also have a weakened magnetosphere, which protects us against deadly rays coming from the sun, but also from neutrinos, which NASA also have found out that neutrinos not necessarily are traveling with the speed of light like they previously thought it would, and that was what was responsible for heating up the Earth's core and driving the dynamo of planet Earth. Now they have found out that these neutrinos actually is able to slow down, and that's exactly the case, and that's leading to a even long-term friction between particles in the Earth's mantle and the neutrinos. Other processes is taking place which is accelerating the heating of the mantle, meaning more volcanic activity, meaning more CO2 to the atmosphere. And it is not man-made CO2. CO2 is not an issue. Methane is an issue, and we have a problem with methane in Siberia as an example. Permafrost in Siberia is melting, and underneath in the Siberian tundra is vast, copious amounts of methane gas. Because back then, when everything was flushed over by the flood, a lot of vegetation and a lot of animals were buried instantaneously. First of all, they were frozen, flash frozen, and then buried. That later decaying because of Earth heat and turning into methane gas. Methane gas is 100 times more potent greenhouse gas than CO2 is over a 10-year period. And now we're talking about the Earth's climate has been heating up for the last 2 decades, and it's become a religion to those people who wants to make money on it. And we know who they are, the banksters, right? Any form of fashion, they can make money. Also the military-industrial complex, they want to make more money. But now I'm thinking something outside the box. We know that we have a planetary body coming in. I was listening to Terrell Blackstar yesterday, and I must say I have more faith in what he says than any of Marshall Masters and all the other kooks on YouTube has to say regarding this so-called PlanetX. It is not a planet system coming in. It's a neutron star coming in, a sister star to our own star. It's a dead star. It's not giving off light, therefore we can't see it. But it's still very potent, very active, and interacting with all the planets in our solar system, which also by NASA has shown is heating up from the inside out. Not just planet Earth, but all of them. And it's also interacting with the sun, and this is the reason for why our sun has gone from being yellow to white, because it's in the vicinity now. It won't be long, people. It won't be long before we all see it, and when we see it, it's too late. You need to be in your safe zones at that point in time, if you have them. Because this 40-day warning, like in Nineveh, it's too little time for you to do anything about it. Already there, the conditions here are so horrific that we are looking at a Mad Max scenario. But so we have this interaction in space. We have this interaction between the Earth and the Sun, which is in turn heating up the planet, which is in turn melting the methane gas and increasing the temperature in our atmosphere. And we have also noticed that we have some extreme heat waves, like Europe has seen heat waves that it has never seen before. It's simply too hot. They have never experienced that, but they are now. And that's one of the reasons is the methane gas in our atmosphere, which is being released due to the melting of the Siberian tundra, and a lot of methane is being released. And I'm not talking about a few cubic meters. We're talking millions of cubic meters of methane rising into the atmosphere. Methane is lethal to inhale. Methane is freaking flammable. Okay? And another thing with CO2 you probably don't know, that is CO2 is heavier than oxygen. So it's getting in contact directly with the plant's roots, which stands for 70% of the assimilation of CO2 that is taking place in the tree's roots, not in the leaves, but in the roots. And when CO2 is heavier than oxygen, it is actually being pressed into the ground and sucked up by the tree's roots and plant's roots, and in turn by photosynthesis generating it into oxygen for you and I to breathe. So I'm thinking, well, they have known for centuries and thousands of years that we have this thing, this dragon in the sky. It's been here before. They know this. But now we have the technology to pinpoint, and they know when disaster is going to strike. They know that. Okay? This is part of what we would say is the wrath of our Lord when that shows up. What comes before that, the 3.5 years of that, is the tribulation. Not the great tribulation, but the tribulation. This is where the persecution of Christians especially, and these are the most persecuted group of people on the planet. I wonder why that is. Is it because that we know for a fact that Christ is Lord? Christ is God. Is that the reason for why the Christians are being murdered left and right all over the planet? Is that why our rights, even in America, is being taken away from us in our schools? We are not allowed to say prayers. We are not allowed to pledge our allegiance to the flag of America. But there's another group of people that is allowed to have prayer time. But we are not. That's a persecution right there. That's discrimination right there. But we are also being killed off. There's no other group of people in the modern day society than the Christians that is being murdered left and right. No others. There are, of course, bloodshed all around the world, but there's someone who has it in for Christians. And I know who they are. They are Satan's minions. And they're blindly following his doctrine. They're not even making a decision. Yeah, they are, but they're just blindly making a decision. But now we know that we are going to have some big trouble. Some earth changes on a planetary scale that no man can fathom. Not even I can fathom what is ahead of us, because it's going to be so big. And the Bible is very clear about that men's heart will fail them for looking after the signs, right? What is coming upon the earth. That's how horrific it's going to be. But now I'm thinking something, like I said, outside the box. Why is it in Asia that they are trying to green the earth, create as much vegetation all of a sudden as they can possibly do? I have an idea about that. When I was listening to Gil Broussard regarding Planet 7X, as he called it, he's saying, and he's not saying, but the scriptures are saying that 1/3 of all the trees and all the green grass will be burned up. Now, let me do something else. Let me see what we can find. Let me see if we can get a flattened out map here, right there. Can you see this? It's outside the screen, so let's shut it down. That'll be there. But you can see this one, right? 1/3 of all the trees and all the green grass will be burned up. Now look at the map here. This is a 2D image of planet Earth. 1/3 of planet is over here of landmass. The 2/3 are here, Asia and Africa. Why is it that China is building ghost towns in Africa and in Asia? Uninhabited, fully uninhabited. No one is there. But they're just waiting for someone to move in. Who are those who's moving in? It might just be those who've been selected and with money and influence that has gotten this card, this signal card, like in the movie 2012. When that starts beeping, everybody is going to Asia. Maybe they're showing us in that movie exactly what their plans are, that they're all going there and they're leaving the rest left to fend for themselves. But again, if we're looking here, 1/3 of all the trees and all the green grass will be burned up. That looks like South America and North America and Canada incinerated. The rest somewhat escapes. You get me? Why is it America has so little concern of its own survival and prestige in this world? Why is everything directed outwards from America and not inwards, in order to, as Trump he says, well, he's just a part of the problem, he's not part of the solution. He's making some good things, but that is to make it look like everything is gonna be okay, because that's how gullible Americans are today. I'm sorry, it sounds harsh, but it's the truth. It just makes it seem like that you are at the right end of the barrel, behind it, not in front of it, but you are in front of it, and you have your back against the wall, but you don't see it because all is sweet talk, sweet talk, sweet talk. It's gonna be okay. But America is being dismantled, and everything that is an asset in America is being brought underground. Why is that? Is it because this part of the world is going to turn into a scenario like the road or the Book of Eli? I think so. So will this. 20% of Earth's oxygen is produced in South America. That's called the Earth's lungs. This is gonna burn up. There will be nothing left. So this explains why they are frantically doing this. All of a sudden, 2 decades ago, they're starting this project of regreening to make sure that there is a steady, sustainable oxygen production on planet Earth after the onslaught, in hope of their survival. That's what I say it is. But CO2 has a great factor to play here. The more CO2 we have, the greener the planet becomes, the more lush and fruitful our planet will be if we can elevate the CO2 content. But it's being elevated automatically by all our volcanoes, 60 plus volcanoes now in eruption top surface. What's below in the surface of the waters, we don't know. I don't think we want to know. That might be pretty scary, because as far as I know, we have 10 million vents sitting on the seafloor around the planet. The largest one of them is Tamu Massive, which is sitting 1,000 miles west of Japan, which is a volcano that is, let's just say, insane. It's the size of freaking Rhode Island. That's a big volcano. So maybe this is really why they're doing this. It's just a thought I have. Why are they so focused on building ghost cities? Why are they so focused on making China into the industrial leader on this planet and letting America, which was once the greatest and making the best bloody products except for Germany on this planet. But now America is not producing anything, and all we are having in this country is made in plastic and made in China. China is the new giant on the face of this earth. And being in the clutches of this regime as a peasant, that's slavery until death, because it's communism. And all the world leaders, I have showed you that in my videos, they are all speaking about this new world order. And this new world order is socialism, communism. And it won't work. But they think their utopia is going to work for them. So I am fully convinced, outside the box, the reason for why they are focusing so much on Asia, especially let's see if I can find that. And that was already brought up in Nixon's times. Let me see. There. There. New World Order. Here we got them. We moved them in. Right there. Here we got Nixon. Here. See if this shows up. He says the development, coherence of Asian regional thinking to evolve regional approaches to develop needs and to the evolution of a new world order. It was in 1967. In 1971 he says, spoke of the talks as a beginning, merely reiterating the belief he brought to China that both nations are an interest in peace and building a new world order. Right there in your face. And what is a communist saying? We are moving towards a new world order, the new world of communism. We shall never turn off that road. That was in 1987. After the Berlin Wall fell and everybody had their arms in the sky, and this communist is saying this. And of course you didn't listen because you were drunk on the so-called freedom that you thought you would have. And here Nixon is saying the New World Order cannot happen without US participation, as we are the most significant single component. Yes, there will be a new world order, and it will force the United States to change its perceptions. Force? You can bet on we're going to be forced to change our perception, because our country is going to be destroyed. This Babylon we are living in is going to be utterly burnt to crisp. There will be nothing left, people. Nothing. It will rain fire from the sky and burn and incinerate everything that you hold dear. All the crap with the survival camps and all the preppers. I'm sorry, people, if you're not underground, you're dead. You're dead. None of us topsoil is going to survive what is coming. This is how bad it's going to be. We're talking wind speeds up to 300, 500 miles an hour. Firestorms. There will be so much fire that it creates its own weather patterns. And the fire will rage over the land and burn everything in it. All of it. But this part of the world is going to be somewhat spared. Or it will have an onslaught, but it will be easier for them to recuperate after a strike from the outside. And I'm talking asteroids and stuff, raining fire from the sky. And I saw an angel taking a censer from the altar and flung it against the earth, and 1/3 of all the trees will be burned up, and all the green grass will be burned up. That's United States, Canada, South America, burned. The earth's lungs is no more. so they necessarily have to create Earth's lungs over here, where all the ghost towns are. Correct? I'm just thinking. This is what we're looking at. This is why they're doing it. It is not for a ecological perspective that this is just good for us. No, it is for a freaking survival perspective that they're doing this. Because they know that 20% of the oxygen production is going to go bye-bye. It's going to be gone. And that's going to have a huge impact on life on this planet. So they need to have a buffer. And this is the buffer. This is not a sunshine story. It's positive in a way that the Earth is going greener. I like that. But there are insidious intentions behind it. And they ain't going to tell you about that. Phil Schneider was trying to tell you about some of those insidious plans that they have. He ended up dead. Harrison tried to explain something to you regarding this incoming planet. He ended up dead. Very fast, of cancer. Out of bloody nowhere, he died. Because he knew. People that knows and utter their opinion about something, they end up dead or suicided. This is how important it is for them to keep this under wraps. This is why we have all these wars, why we have all these political schemes running around and all this economic crap going around. We don't need money. We need a contribution society like it was once. You have some rice, I have some potatoes. You want to swap? Well, we're building a society of socialism where people think they can get everything for free. And then there's these people that says, okay, I can get everything for free. Then I don't bloody have to work. I can just go down in the supermarket and hand over my food stamps. And turn into a lazy potato, couch potato. This is the Western world for you. We're turning into losers. We don't have the ethics of work hard. I do, but a lot of Americans don't have that ethic anymore, especially in the liberal world. They think everything is just freebies. It is not. If you want to accomplish and achieve anything and obtain anything in this world, you need to take your hands out of your pockets and go to work and be a part to contribute to your country. And it doesn't matter what kind of work it is. As long as you in your soul and in your mind know that you're contributing and you having food on your table every day and a roof over your head, you just fine. Just peachy. And you don't have to have your world fall apart because you don't have a Nintendo or a PlayStation 2 in front of your TV. You don't need a PlayStation. What you need is food. And what you need is spirituality. That is the two main factors in your life. Feed your temple with food and spirituality. And nothing else is necessary. That will make you go by in your life and you will be just happy. All the things that you want and you can't have makes you miserable. And even if you had everything and could go out and buy whatever you want, do you think that's going to make you happy? No, it's not going to make you happy. Because in that moment that you think you own the world because you're rich, you're losing your spirituality. It's going out the window. And greed sets in. You want more and more and more. And enough is not even enough. and it lands you just like everybody else, miserable inside. That's all I have to say. I think this is the reason for why they're doing this plantation, this greening of the planet on that part of the earth. I honestly do. This is an attempt to survive after the onslaught. But they shall not escape. They should say peace and security, and sudden destruction shall fall upon them. They shall hide in the dens and call upon the rocks to fall upon them and hide them from the face of the Lamb who sits on the throne, from his wrath. It's going to be their tombs. They're not going to make it. None of them. All those people who is burying themselves on the ground with wealth and power, they're never going to see daylight again when they go down there. They're going to end their life there, because God is going to make sure they don't come out to try and take over again. He's going to finish them. They just don't believe that, but it's in the scriptures. It tells them. But Satan has given them a promise, and they're believing that Satan is going to keep that promise, and the demons too is going to keep their promises. Well, let me let you in on something then, while we're at it. The demons, fallen angels, and Lucifer himself, they only got one goal in mind. That is the destruction of humanity, all of us, but not by just killing us. His way of trying to destroy you is by you taking this mark that will change your DNA and change your brain patterns. It's a chip that's going to go into your body, and it's going to alter who you are. You are no longer a human. You are part human, you part them, you part machine. And you have pledged your allegiance to him, not to God. You didn't dare die for Jesus because you were so desperate to stay alive. You took the mark, and therefore you damned. Damnation. And God won't have you, because you pledged your allegiance to the evil one, not to him. You didn't choose to lay down your life for him that will give you eternal life. Not on planet Earth, but another place, much better place, which none of us know what looks like, but it is better. You can bet on it. So their goal is for you to take this mark, to destroy you, not to kill you. They couldn't care less about killing you, because that's not the goal. Satan wants to take as many souls with him down, because he knows his time is short. And his wrath is like a roaring lion running around on the streets, seeking who he might devour. That's his ultimate goal. Not just to wipe us out, but he wants you to pledge his allegiance to him so you can damn yourself, and then he wins. That's a victory for him. Killing you won't help him. Not at all. Because you could be a stout Christian he just kill off, and you're going straight to heaven. There you go. You're going home. No, he needs to win you over, so you can lose your soul for eternity. That's his victory. And when he has done this job, if he was getting that far, he would destroy the rest of God's creation, meaning the entire planet he will eradicate and turn it into a horrific world of his own design. Not by creation, but by design. And you're seeing some of that design on the surface of the moon. It is maniacal, it's malevolent, it's pure evil. I have seen the pictures. There's some very creepy stuff going on up there. That's why we don't talk about the moon anymore. This is why moon videos where they're getting a little too close is being censored, because we can bloody see what's up there. And they're saying there's nothing up there, but you bet there is. All over the place. They never left. There were giants in the land before and after the flood. They never left, people. They're still here. And the demons are the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim, destined to roam the earth until Judgment Day, where they will all be cast in a pit. And they're walking right next to us at all times, 24/7. They are around us. You can't see them. They can materialize and make themselves visible to you if they want to, if you call upon them, if you're really that stupid. But they're here. They never left. They're all around us at all times. While you sleep, they're looking at you. They're looking at you everywhere you go. You're being watched by them. And they're looking for any way to make an entrance into your life. And if you let them in, you're in big trouble. If you allow them in, God have mercy on your soul. Because you won't get rid of them if you let them in. That requires some serious exorcism. They are all around us, all the time. You just can't see them. There are millions of them, if not billions. This is why they're doing what they're doing in Asia. This is their survival plan. It is not to make themselves look good. It's for survival. Because South America and the United States of America is going to be burned to the ground. Everything topsoil in the United States of America and South America is going to be burned up. All of it. It will turn into a desert of nothingness. Very few survivors. Very few. It will be a very empty space. If you live, you can walk for months without seeing another human being. That in itself is going to be horrible. Finding food, wow, good luck. Because you have to eat. Finding clean water, good luck. You got any means to water purify anything? You got life straws and stuff in your bug out bag? You better have some of that, because you're gonna need it. You drink one drop of water from a lake or something else, you're as good as dead, because that water is poisoned. Wormwood is making sure that is going to happen. Wormwood is this planet coming in. This giant asteroid that's going to hit Earth, poison the everything, the rivers and the lakes, the waters. Most likely because it contains arsenic and iron. Iron in rust in water is bitter. And they have found out that all these asteroids that is coming into our atmosphere now, by examinations, are laden with arsenic. Arsenic is a natural component even in the Earth's soil. But in the quantities, that's determining how poisoned you're going to be. You're drinking the water, you're definitely going to be poisoned. But it's all around us. But it's being added to us, because the increase of fireballs is also exponential. Why is that? Because this thing this neutron star coming in is pushing and diverting and giving new orbits to the loose rocks in space around us. And some of them is going to be on collision course with Earth, and when they come in, they burn up in the atmosphere, and this arsenic is being spread around all over the planet. Every time we have a fireball in the sky, we are looking at an arsenic bomb. Every single time. And comets are not big snowballs. They are asteroids. What you see, the tail, is a plasma plume. It's not dust, like NASA wants you to believe. It's rock. And the electricity created between the rock and the sun is creating a plasma plume, which is stretching a long tail behind it, and it's plasma. And we have scarring on Mars, we have scarring on Earth, Grand Canyon as an example, of the Lichtenberg burning, meaning there has been an electrical discharge between two bodies, Earth and this incoming body. A plasma discharge that carved out Grand Canyon in a matter of seconds. It's not water erosion that has made Grand Canyon. It's made by electricity. This is going to happen again. It's happened before. It will happen again. So, this is just what I think. This is why they're doing it. They're already leaving the Western world, leaving it behind, moving everything over here. Because they know where they are now, it's going to be gone, toast. That's how I see it. And I hold that to be the fact. God bless you.